Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren and I'm the owner and creator of Pantone Designs. Today I am going to be doing some Kickstarter prep. So I'm sort of making a Kickstarter. It's going to be in April and I wanted to show you guys sort of how I prep for it and what I do, how I set up my files, and yeah, just try and show you a little bit behind the scenes of making this project. Please ignore the fact that I have washing here. We're gonna hide that. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do some Kickstarter prep today. I also need to take a photograph of my products ready for Stationery Fest. So they've asked for some pictures with your products and they want sort of one image with a few of your products on, just to showcase sort of your products and your brand. So I want to do that this morning. It is currently just after 10 a.m. and I'm on a standby day today, but my standby ended at 10 a.m. So I waited until now to start filming, so I know now that I have the full day to get some stuff done. So yeah. Okay, so I have set up what I think could be a good photo. Sorry for like not putting you on the tripod. It's probably a bit shaky, but we'll just have to get over that. But let me just show you what I have set up for the photograph. So I've kept it pretty simple. I'm gonna have to edit this quite a lot because it's quite a dark day today, but I'm thinking of sort of this setup. So it will kind of look a bit like this. I've got like my pins, my wrapping paper, my washi tapes, and just, yeah, it does look so dark. I don't really know what to do, but this is kind of what I'm working with. Okay, so I have changed the angle up slightly. That didn't work. It's too dark. I know it looks quite blown out right now, but it's actually quite a dull day. And I just hate product photography. Like whenever I take photos, I just feel like unless I'm actually outside, none of my photos go right, which is why when you go on my website, all of my product photos are like outside in like fields and stuff. That's just how I do my product photos. I find it the easiest. But yeah, so instead of doing a little collage, actually taking a photo, I've decided after speaking to a few other people that I would create a collage on Photoshop. I've done this before for many other things, so I kind of had bits and bobs already sort of ready to go, if that makes sense. So I've just spent some time playing around with the layout and things, and I think I've come up with something that will work for what I need. So this is kind of what I've come up with. I think it looks good. I think it represents my brand. It's very blue. It has all my products. So there's like my pins here, my washi tape, wrapping paper, greetings cards, stickers, and a little sneak of the this year's calendar. So I think it shows off everything. It's kind of what I wanted in like a physical photo, but it's just digital instead. So I think I'm just going to send this off and then we can tick one of the jobs off today. Okay, so I've just finished doing the form for Stationery Fest, and I do really want to get that Kickstarter stuff done today, but it is currently lunchtime, so I'm going to have a bit of lunch and then I am going to check back in with you guys. I think I'm just going to show you my screen and sort of like talk through it. I know this vlog's going to be quite a chatty one, so hopefully you guys don't mind that too much, but it's about to get exciting, I promise. Hopefully. If you're interested in Kickstarter, which I think a few of you are. So yeah, let's have some lunch and then I'll be back with you. Okay, I don't know how well this is gonna go, but hello, welcome. I'm hoping that you can see me on the screen and you can see my screen, which is just up here for me. So if I'm looking up here, that's why. But this is sort of like how I set up my files for my Kickstarter. So as you can see, this is the first pin, and I kind of wanted to like speak through what I do and how I get there. So all of my files are usually set up like this, and basically this file is just to show the manufacturer what exactly you want. So I usually have my Pantone colours here. So Pantone colours are the colours you want to use for the enamel. I'll have like the overall design over here. I usually put how big I want it to be. Sort of, if I'm doing it wide, I'll put it across the bottom. If I'm doing tall, I'll put it across the side here. Over here I just have some details, so it's to let the manufacturer know that I want my logo printed on the back and that I want the light blue rubber clutches. So all of my pins usually have blue clutches, and I really love this light blue colour because I think it matches my branding perfectly. A few of my old pins actually have a darker blue, but they will all be moving over to this light blue colour eventually. And then I have the back of the pin here. So this is kind of just to show what the back of the pin, I want the back of the pin to look like. Not many people would do the back of the pin, but I quite like to let them know sort of where I want the stamp and roughly where I want the pins to be. Most of my pins have 2 little studs just because I think it makes them more sturdy. And then over in the bottom left corner I usually have any elements of screen printing or glitter or extra things I want to add on. So this pin is actually a lot more complicated than most pins that I do, and it's because it's a Kickstarter pin, so you go big or go home on a Kickstarter. So it has lots of colours, it has 2 lots of screen printing. So screen printing on enamel pins is essentially where people will hand paint on top of the enamel, so it doesn't have to have an outline. So if you can see around here, all of the gold bits are like metal, which means it all has like an outline, whereas these bits here don't have an outline, and that's what's called screen printing. It is an extra cost, it is more expensive, and the more colours you have then goes more expensive too. So I only recommend doing these type of things if you are going to do a campaign, purely because otherwise it's going to be very expensive to purchase. But yeah, that's kind of how I set up like the main file. I do have folders over here, and I like to set my folders up like this. So if you look in the right bottom corner of the screen, you will see where my layers are. I usually have one folder called Pantone colours, and that will just list where my Pantone colours are. I have one folder called details. I need to sort of tidy this bit up, but essentially it will have where the pins, so sort of like the back stamps and stuff like that, that's where the details go. And then I also have one folder called pin, and this is where the majority of the pin bit is. So for example, this is where I've put most of the colour. So if you take the colour off, the colour then disappears. I'm pointing over here, but the colour then disappears from the pin, if that makes sense. So we'll add that back on. But that's kind of how I set up my files to send to my manufacturer. If you want to know how to get Pantones, it is actually kind of tricky, to be honest. I have found a little bit of a cheat way to do it, but it's not the correct way. I guess it's not the correct way, but like it's a bit of a cheat way. So most people will design in RGB. I tend to design in CMYK because a lot of my products are printed, but it kind of depends on what you design in as to what colours you're going to get. So when you export your files into Photoshop, you will notice on some older videos that people would just simply go, I want to drop this colour, and then they would click on colour libraries. Now, what you'll find on the most recent versions of Photoshop is that the Pantone colour library is actually not there anymore. This is to do with like the licensing that Pantone have with Adobe. So that was a bit of a bummer because we all use that as designers to create enamel pins and how to find our Pantones. So my little cheat that I have is that I still actually have Photoshop from 2021 installed on my computer. And you'll see here that I have been using that for some things. So if I click on, so this one is just my turtle, and I do exactly what I've just done. So I click on the colour and then pull up the colour library. You will see now that I actually have Pantone colours. That's because the Pantone colours are still installed on Photoshop up until I think it was 2022. So because I still have this version installed on my computer, I can still use it, and then I will find my Pantones and then sort of put it back into Photoshop 2024. It's a bit of a long-winded way of doing it, but it works for me at the moment. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to do that for, but that's kind of what I do now to find my Pantones. So yeah, if anyone wants to try that, give that a go, please do. I think it's the same with Adobe Illustrator as well. I think if you go back and install a older version of Illustrator, you can then get the Pantones back too, if that makes sense. Most manufacturers will use this one here, which is the Pantone solid coated, but that's just what I find. Obviously you can see there's a lot of Pantones here, but I tend to just use this one, the solid coated Pantones. I don't know if there's any difference between these two. Oh, there is a little bit, but I just use these ones, and it tends to work out okay. But yeah, that's kind of how I set up my files. So I'm just going to go and set up my files for my other 2 pins, and then I will be back with you on a normal screen, and I will talk to you about my Kickstarter and what I'm planning with it and when it's going to be launching and all that sort of fun jazz. I do want to do some more computer work with you guys, so this little pop-up thing might be happening again. But yeah, we're gonna just get through the video. I'm gonna set up these files and then I will be back with you.
Small city thinking, I get why you left. Small-minded people sure know how to drink. I came to the party, I laughed at the jokes you made. I wish that I hadn't, 'cause now the joke's on me. I didn't come here just so I could watch you make a mess. I didn't come here to ugly cry in my favorite dress. So what the hell were you thinking then when you kissed your lips? Now I'm kinda glad you did, 'cause now you adore me.
Hi, hello. I'm not sure where I last filmed. What did I do? Oh, I was just making an image for Instagram. So you would have seen just a little quick time lapse of me making an image for Instagram. I have posted that image. I actually posted it, I set it up to post at 4 o'clock and it's now 4:30. And I've had quite a few likes on it and stuff. So I'm hoping people are really excited for the Kickstarter. But what I wanted to show you was something that I think is really helpful when you're planning a Kickstarter. And that is when you are trying to choose the size of your pin. So all of my pins fit on a card. So this is just one of my backing cards. This is like the generic one that I have at the moment, but I am actually going through my cards and making like individual backing cards ready for Stationery Fest. But I like to get this card out because it's obviously the correct size. And I also like to print on a piece of paper different sizes of the pins to, like, I don't know, kind of judge what size would look best. And then I will kind of look at them and compare them against the card to see what size I want. These are quite heavily detailed pins, so I didn't want them to be too small because I think you'd lose all that lovely detail on them. However, I also don't want them too big. I like with my pins that even though they are slightly bigger, they are still like wearable, and you can put them on like your collar of your jacket, or stick them on a lanyard, like, or even put on display boards. I did really like this one here, which is the 2.15 inches, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to show this very well. When you put the backing card over it, it literally is just ever so slightly too big, and I'm not sure if that would annoy people, that it kind of comes off the card a little bit. I personally don't think it would annoy me, but I'm not sure if people would think it would, like, if it would annoy other people if it didn't fit like perfectly on the card. But I just feel like the details look so much better on it, because it is quite a wide pin. The other way that I could do it is if I put the card this way instead. The only issue I have with that is that none of my other pins will have a card this way, and I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue, because on my display I could just do, hopefully, there is actually more turtles, so there's another turtle, and I could do like the 3 turtles on one row, if that makes sense. So they have their own row of like only going this way, and then all the rest of the cards are portrait. But I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what I'm feeling. I think I'm gonna have a think on it. But yeah, that was one of my little top tips for when you're choosing the size of your pin. I can tick that off my to-do list now of sort of testing out the sizes of the pins. The next thing I want to do is I do want to show you how far I've got on my Kickstarter page at the moment. And I'm going to do that by screen recording my screen again and hopefully having you guys in the corner. So let's jump to my computer. Okay, so we've jumped to my computer. If I'm looking up, it's because my computer is up here. Again, like I said previously, so please ignore that. Okay, so I'm hoping you guys can see this go up well, but this is the preview of my page at the moment. So I have the Gems of the Sea Enamel Pin collection. I want to change that set to collection because I think collection sounds a bit nicer. So I'll remember to do that once I've come off here. But the tagline is "Find yourself in the magical underwater world where all the creatures shine like gemstones." The reason why I haven't done it specifically for turtles is because some of the stretch goals aren't turtles. The idea came about with turtles, and I will explain more about that in a second once I finish this. But yeah, it's not just limited to the turtles, so I didn't want to just have the turtles in the name because there's pins that aren't turtles basically in the collection if we get it completely funded. This says 30 days to go. That's just because I haven't launched it. It's actually only 22 days from when I'm filming this. And again, it says like the goal up there. I've just put this in as like a roundabout goal. I still need to do the numbers and send off the files to my manufacturer to confirm this number. I think it's going to be around £600 for the 2, but I just need to confirm that with my manufacturer. But this one here is where the main image is. As you can see, we've got the 2 turtles and the little like logo tag here, which is Gems of the Sea. I like this sort of like pointy bit here where like the arrow goes to it and it's got the name. That's because each of my pins and characters all have names because they all have their own stories. I haven't actually done the stories for these pins yet, but hopefully they will have their stories by the time they come to my shop. But essentially all of the characters in this collection all have names of gemstones or just stones in general, like crystals and stuff. So we've got amethyst here, which is like a purpley colour, and we've got turquoise, which obviously is like a turquoise green, bluey colour. And then for the background on this, I wanted to make it a little bit interesting. So I've done like a gradient in the background from my brand colour blue up here, just so that people know that it sort of links back to me and my branding. And then we've got the turquoisey colour here too, because turquoise kind of reminds me of like underwater and like the sea essentially. And then we've got some little fishies as well, just because it's under the sea, so why not? As you scroll down, I've not done too much here because there's a lot of it I can't do, but I just wanted to show you how the Kickstarter pages are set up. So over in the left hand side here is where you have like little tabs, and you can create the tabs here for your Kickstarter. It always starts with a story. I think it's really important to start with a story because you want the person who's like pledging for your collection to know who you are and to know what your business is about, because through these Kickstarter campaigns, I've had people follow me who have no idea who I am. Yes, okay, the majority of them do come from Instagram, but quite a few people will just search Kickstarter and it can be promoted to them and stuff like that. So I like to make sure that there's a bit about me and my company, my business type thing. So I've got a little hello there, and then so I like to make these kind of impersonal and kind of a bit fun, just to kind of invite the person into it, if that makes sense. And then I just kind of have an image of me. So this is an image of me at one of my recent markets, or one of my last markets I did actually last year before Christmas, just to show my face off a little bit. And then I usually go on to the rewards. So the rewards are where I'm going to show the graphic about the two pins, these two pins here. And you kind of just build up this like sort of story about why you're doing your campaign. This is kind of like the back office bit, and this is essentially where you build your project. You build your project up in this like sort of behind the scenes. So you start with the basics. So this is where you name your project, you upload your photos and sort of put in when you want your campaign to start, how many days you want it to run for, and things like that. Then we move on to the rewards. So the rewards are what you are offering the person. So my rewards are all physical rewards. I like to set mine up so that they are quite simple to follow. So mine will just have like 1 enamel pin, and then 2 enamel pins, 3 enamel pins, and then the person would pledge for how many enamel pins they'd want. And then at the end of the campaign, if it's successful, you get sent a survey by me that we create, and it will say which pin you would like. So if you pledged for 2 pins, you could then tick which pin you would like. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense. I'm going to read this back, watch this back, and it's not going to make any sense and redo it again, but hopefully that makes some sort of sense. Then you move on to your story. So the story is just the bit that I showed you. So it's where you are listing what the rewards are, what they can get, who you are, why you want to do the project, any risks that are involved in the project, letting the customer know the time frames, so how long it takes to make everything, and things like that. You're kind of building up a page in this story section. And then once you're happy with all of this, you can then send it for a review. So it does say here that you have 1 to 3 business days for a response. I would definitely get this ready at least a week before you are set to launch your campaign. I know it says 1 to 3 business days, but sometimes they could say take 3 business days to get a response back, and then they want you to change something. And then you'd need more days basically, because you'd then have to send it off for review again. So yeah, I would say at least leave yourself at least a week before you do this. Once you have your project reviewed, you can then click launch. So it doesn't just launch it straight away. You can still manage when you're going to launch it. And then we have prepare for launch. So if you can get all of this done way before a week, that's great, because then you can get your pre-launch page. So your pre-launch page is where people can see your page before you launch your campaign, and essentially people can save it. So if they have used Kickstarter before, they can create a profile and they can save it and be emailed when it goes live, or you can get people just following it. So yeah, I would recommend trying to do this bit here not as quickly as you can, because obviously you want it to be detailed and correct. That's the bit that's going to sell your project, but you'd want to get this done with plenty of time to be able to send your launch page out for a little bit before your campaign starts. Getting a little bit of golden hour going on, the sun is setting, so I am just going to talk for a little bit, and then I think I'm going to end this vlog. But I wanted to speak to you more a little bit about my Kickstarter campaign. So the campaign itself it consists mainly of 2 pins, 2 turtles. There is amethyst and turquoise, but I do have 3 more pins as stretch goals. So there's another turtle pin, which is rose quartz. There is, I don't know if I want to spoil it, but there's 2 more pins in the collection that aren't turtles, we'll just say that. So we will see how well we do that. Wow, that is really bright and shiny. Let me change the angle. This is better. The sun's here, so at least we've not got sun in our eyes. But yeah, so there are 5, hopefully 5 pins in this collection. There is potentially a 6th pin, depending on how well the campaign goes. But I just wanted to speak to you a little bit about why this campaign is happening. So I always like to have a little bit of a story with my Kickstarters and things like that. So with my last Kickstarter, the story behind it was that the main character in that collection was Reggie, and Reggie was the red panda pin. The only reason why that really has a story behind it is because my boyfriend is obsessed with red pandas, and we joked around that he would one day have a red panda and he wanted to call it Reggie. So we settled on him just getting a teddy. So he has a teddy called Reggie, but it then just became a character in my shop, and I love Reggie. He's such a cute little character, and I can't wait to do more things with Reggie this year. He's kind of one of my fall characters, like autumn characters, so you'll see Reggie popping up this year a little bit more. But yeah, the story behind this new campaign is that me and my best friend, it's kind of something that's came about recently, but I've known her my whole life. Recently we had a little thing where we called each other turtles. So the turtle thing came about where we're both very much people who like to stay in our own little shell. We like the comforts of our own home. We're kind of very much like individual people, and that's kind of where the turtle thing came from. And so I wanted to make a campaign that was kind of inspired by our friendship. So that's where the blue and purple turtles came from. My favourite colour is obviously blue, and her favourite colour is purple. So yeah, that's kind of where the blue and purple came from. And then I wanted to have a little bit of a twist on it, so I kind of then thought of the Gems of the Sea, and I thought how perfect if I called the characters in this collection by gemstone names. So that's sort of the little story behind it. It is inspired by me and my best friend and our friendship, and yeah, I really hope you guys will like this campaign. The turtle pins I think are my favourite pins I've ever done. They are just so lovely, and I can't wait to get them made. But yeah, that's kind of the story behind the Kickstarter. I do think I'm going to end this vlog now. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you want to pledge for my campaign, it will be going live on the 12th of April, which is actually my best friend's birthday. It'll be going live on the 12th of April, and it'll be running through the whole of the month and will end on the 31st of April, which is, funny enough, my nephew's birthday. So we're doing birthday to birthdays. That is the dates for the Kickstarter, and if you want to keep up with any more updates on the campaign, then please go and follow me over on my Instagram. It is at pantone designs. I will leave it down below for you to click on the link. And yeah, I hope you guys have really enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like and comment, and I will see you guys in a couple of weeks in the next video. Thanks guys, bye!